mute. Maybe it's Laura. There we go. Hello, everyone. I'm Jim Garrison, and I want to welcome you to session 413 of Humanity Rising. As day by day and week by week, month by month, now approaching 2 years, we have been broadcasting globally all around the world as we all navigate our way through a pandemic that has challenged us in extraordinarily powerful ways, both collectively with lockdowns and social distancing and masks and all kinds of things that we weren't used to that have curtailed our freedom of mobility and association, but also deeply personally. In the news just this morning, it was reported that the number of accidents have skyrocketed during COVID at a time when for many, many weeks and months, people were under lockdown. And one would expect that with fewer cars and less traffic on the road, that you would have a proportional decline in traffic accidents, which were before COVID at a record low. And now they're at a record high. And the explanation, it's pandemic stress and it's road rage. And we are experiencing it not only in the United States, but in various countries around the world. And at the same time, situations geostrategically like the Ukraine are just teetering on the brink. And we're hopeful that we'll bring a report on the Ukraine in a few days. But all of us are challenged with how we deal with the centrifugal force of COVID and a world that is now gripped by escalating ecological turbulence. And in and through this, Humanity Rising and a spectrum of organizations, hundreds of organizations that have circumambulated around what we're doing, similarly motivated to enable humanity to rise to a greater purpose, a deeper sense of caring for the world, and I would say a wider sense of collective identity. Because the more centrifugal force you have pulling us asunder, the more unity of purpose we need to keep our coherence in the raging sea of chaos. So today we're going to contemplate unity of purpose and how we take the passion of the heart for good in the world and transform it into actions that make a difference as the world seeks renewal at this very crucial time. So it's purpose and unity that we want to contemplate today. And so in that spirit, let us just pause, as we always do as we begin our Humanity Rising sessions. And let us just remember our body. We're all in bodies. And let us center ourselves in our hearts. And just for a minute, let us align with our heartbeat. Let us feel each other. Let us consecrate ourselves to the unity of purpose that the world so desperately needs to regenerate humanity and the larger ecology. Thank you, everyone. It's with an open heart and a heart full of love and gratitude for each and every one of you that I am delighted today to introduce a program that hopefully will inspire you to deeper coherence and more concerted, purposeful action in the world. I want to invite Emmanuel, Councilman, and Laura Rose, who have been working together as a couple for many, many years. In 1985, co-founding Greenheart International, a nonprofit that facilitated cultural exchange around the world. And then in 1995, the Foundation of the Future, which is gathering resources to empower grassroots groups around the world. I've gotten to know Emmanuel and Laura over the last several months. They're one of the wonderful things that has happened as a result of Humanity Rising. People wonder why I'm so energetic and smiling every day. It's because I have the opportunity to focus all my time in the manifestation of human goodness. You know, what's not to like? And to meet extraordinary people in all kinds of nooks and crannies around the world that I didn't even know existed, but who are just beavering away with all of their hearts to enable humanity to rise at this most critical moment in the human journey. So Emmanuel and Laura, I welcome you to the program. They've assembled a group of people that will be talking about the purpose that we can integrate into our lives. And so I want to welcome you to Humanity Rising and turn the program over to you.
Thank you, Jim. It's a pleasure to be here this morning. We're very appreciative to Humanity Rising for asking us to be on your program here today. And indeed, as you said, Jim, it's a kind of accidental time, isn't it? It's sometime here between COVID and climate change and a world in stress and soldiers on the borders of Ukraine and all the rest. Very perplexing, troubling time. So much more so that we all need to dig deeper and find our purpose and bring it into action. And, you know, you talked about the centrifugal force of COVID and this, it's time for us to be less accidental and more intentional in all of our actions. Let us not sit back and watch the world go down the drain. Let us not be complacent or hiding this under the rug. On the contrary, it is time for all of us to rise as one humanity, to become a part of the solutions of the impending world crisis and put our own passions into action. Now is the time. We are the people. This is the place. Let's get at it. So we're here today to present Purpose Earth, taking our passion into purposeful action. And I'd like to say a few words about passion because there seems to be a lot of that out there these days. It mostly revolves around love affairs. After all, it's the day after Valentine's Day. I hope you all had a passionate, loving day yesterday. So we're passionate about our love affairs and certainly about politics and many, many other issues. But are we too passionate? Or perhaps not passionate enough? Do we sometimes miss the calling in the middle to direct the passion in our hearts and souls towards a really true, good, purposeful cause? We're here today to help you to convert your passion into purposeful action. And so it's time for us all to fight off that centrifugal force of COVID, that force that pulls us into a pool of contention and negativity, and bring us back to the light of the Spirit in our hearts. And quite honestly, I think it's easier than it seems to be. Because if there is, as Jim said, a centrifugal force of COVID and issues, there is also what we call a holotropic attractor in chaos theory. When things get chaotic and confusing out there, it seems as if everything's breaking down. But in that very process, the solutions are building, forming a new vision of the future to carry us forward. It's called a holotropic attractor, an attractor that brings us together towards holism, moving towards that innate nature of human design, where we all desire to be whole, to live in unity, peace, harmony, and cohesion. That is the natural call of our hearts and souls that brings us together. And at Purpose Earth, which is part of Unity Earth, we wanted to set the example of giving first, helping others, starting the regenerative cycle of giving action, and showing first our kindness and our generosity, and then hoping that the cycle will come full circle and allow all of us to feel and sense that holotropic attractor within ourselves and put it into purposeful action. We need to dig deep. We need to find the true purpose of our life at this time and really press those buttons and make it work for the good of the whole, for the rising humanity in these times of need. So that's the spirit and the essence behind Purpose Earth. Here today with me are some of the members of our wonderful team. Lauren Singer, our executive producer, long time for many, many decades in the music and entertainment industry. We also have Rhiannon Catalyst, who's been an artistic and creative director since she was 21 and working with us as our artistic director. There's Rhiannon on the screen. I hope you've seen Lawrence as well. We have Lily Shahadi, who takes care of our digital media and public relations. Hello, Lily. Good to see you today. We have Dr. Marty Casey, founder of the Show Me Arts Foundation and the Ungun Institute from St. Louis. Just one of the most beautiful, vibrant people I know. If anyone's got a holotropic attractor in their heart, it's Dr. Marty. Hello to you today. And then my lovely wife, Laura Rose, who's worked with me for so many decades, helping to implement a brighter vision for the future. So this is our team. They'll all be sharing thoughts with you today. And Laura, I'd like to ask you all of you to make some opening comments just briefly about how you feel about Purpose Earth and what it means to you, how it helps you put your passion into purposeful action. Laura Rose, would you like to say a few words for us? Thank you.
Good morning, everybody, or good evening, depending on where you are on the planet. Paulo Coelho once said, when we love, we always strive to become better than we are. And when we strive to become better than we are, everything around us becomes better too. And I think working and being with this group called Purpose Earth has created so much love in my heart and has really shown what's possible to do when we all put our best foot forward. Purpose Earth started just over 2 years ago as a dream to help other people enliven and to bring forth into the world their dreams, their grassroots dreams of making the world a better place in their communities, in their villages, in their towns around the planet. But what I realize as I become more involved with this beautiful, beautiful undertaking is that Purpose Earth has made me a better person. and has helped me to find my passion and has helped me to bring forth the love and the striving and the acknowledgement that we are only as good and as purposeful as an individual as we are when we work within community. And this team of people that's here with us today, and those who aren't on this team, are emblematic of what is possible when we bring our hearts together in fullness and in passion for what's possible. And what I've seen is that a small group of people with purpose-driven passion can create something that's absolutely extraordinary. We meet on a weekly basis, and every week is one of my most perfect moments of life because I see what it's like to work with a team that does not have a hierarchical structure, does not have the normal structures that are put into place in order to accomplish things. It's done through love. It's done through teamwork. And what we find is that we're working on something that has so much higher purpose than ourselves. Mother Teresa once said, we can do no great things. We can only do small things with great love. And that is so true of Purpose Earth. And I'm going to turn it over to a couple of our other team members here to talk more about our purpose. Emmanuel?
Okay, well, let's move on and have opening statement. Rhiannon, I see you next to me on this there. Would you like to share some thoughts about the unity of purpose and the holotropic attractor at work in your enormous heart? Rhiannon Catalyst.
Well, thank you, Emmanuel, and thank you all so much for this opportunity to speak from the heart about this organization that I am so deeply passionate about and this time of incredible transformation. You know, I'm so honored to be here with all of you and everyone who is watching. Each person here is so dedicated not only to creating change, but to inspiring and helping us all globally to remember our true wholeness and to co-create change together in such a reciprocal fashion that I see mirroring really the way that nature works in the ecosystems that we're not separated from, but deeply intertwined with. So much of our greatest wisdom and our most brilliant ideas come from nature, of course, and this is no different as we remember our true wholeness and interconnectedness. So first of all, you know, I just want to say it's our nature to transform. We are all catalysts. We are all agents of change. And thank you all for being true to your nature. As we remember who we are truly as a human species and our power to rise up, it is such a powerful time to be alive amidst all this divisiveness and all the strife and the pain and the suffering, which is, of course, one of my motivations for being here. There's so much good news to share. There's so much incredible beauty. And as Laura shared, each week that we come together, it is one of the most blessed times that I feel driven by. I feel nourished by that experience of us coming together and working together in new ways. So, you know, we are interconnected with this beautiful web of life and system of intertwined ecosystems within which each of us have the power to be a force for regenerative, reciprocal good. And the fact is that doing good for others and for the whole, it helps us as well. It helps us all. It makes us feel good. It turns out it makes us live longer. And not to mention the legacy that we leave behind for the next generations as we shift into this new reciprocal way of being that takes place over competitive systems and structures. So being here is such a joy. Being part of Purpose Earth is such a joy. And I just thank you all for the opportunity to live my own purpose with you.
Thank you, Rhiannon. Rhiannon is the creative and artistic director for Purpose Earth. She's also co-producer. She's the visionary voice and ideas behind the programs we presented so far. If you've seen them, they're not just simple programs with ongoing presentations, but all has an arc of meaning, a story to tell. And we're into that story today. Thank you, Rhiannon, for bringing your art and vision to the Purpose Earth productions. And the Purpose Earth productions are also quite a bit about music. And I think that will be one of the leitmotifs of today's discussion, is the musical flow of the universe behind us. And the gentleman who works with us has been involved in the music business for decades. His own business is called Rhythms of the Globe, and he's the man that keeps us in rhythm and guides us on our way as executive producer of Purpose Earth, Lawrence Singer. Lawrence, would you like to share a few thoughts on how you are converting your passion into purposeful action? You're muted, Lawrence, I think.
Yeah, thank you, Emmanuel and Laura and Rhiannon. Purpose Earth is a grant and mentorship program. And when as Laura said, it was launched in June 2020. We had never worked together before. A lot of us didn't know each other. Many of us had never met in person. And the production team, this is the production team, and the Grants Council was added a little bit later, and Dr. Marty can talk about that, and she's on the Grants Council. And it's an amazing experience to work with everyone, as Laura expressed. We believe change comes at the grassroots, and we fund grassroots organizations and individuals who are leaders in their community to activate their community for sustainable change. It's grassroots organizations have greater immediate real world impact, and have longevity in their communities. And we're working, we have 5 new grant recipients. I think we've had 23. So there's close to 30 grant recipients in a year and a half. Or is it a year and a half? It's hard I lose track of time here. But it seems like a long time, and it's a very short time too. And the focus of Purpose Earth is very much aligned with what I've been doing most of my life. I was I'm on the board of directors of Unity Earth, and Purpose Earth was founded by a merger of the Global Purpose Movement and Unity Earth, and it's an initiative of Unity Earth, and it very much aligned with Rhythms of the Globe, because Purpose Earth has a rhythm of its own. So I feel very fortunate to work with everyone in the whole community. It's been an amazing experience for me. I've met amazing people. I continue to meet amazing people. And we're bringing the wisdom energy out into the world. And I know we can do it. We're off to a great start.
Thank you, Lawrence. Indeed, we are. And it's our pleasure to be working with you and gaining from your vast experience of these kinds of productions. And we're truly grateful to have you as part of the team. And, you know, you've mentioned how enjoying you are with the teamwork here at Purpose Earth. And we try to be an example as a community and activation to live the Purpose Earth ideals and to extend that to the rest. And we just have, as Laura said, such a wonderful team. I'd like to present another member of our team representing the youth and the hope for the future. and the energy and vitality of a younger generation coming forth to take the reins and lead us into the holotropic attractor. I'd like to introduce Lily Shahadi, who helps us with public relations, digital marketing, and outreach, and certainly a lot of passion in her heart. Lily, how do you convert that into purposeful action?
Hello, Emmanuel, and hello, everyone. Thank you for that stunning introduction. One of my favorite quotes and biggest takeaways from working at Purpose Earth actually comes from one of our fantastic grant recipients, Laura Pena, of She is the Universe. She always likes to say, when you're looking for your purpose, find what makes you cry. Find your wound or that ache in your heart and follow it. I come from kind of a war-torn region. I was born in Beirut, Lebanon, and that isn't super safe right now. But what made me cry, what broke my heart, was seeing division between people. Was seeing cultures, beautiful cultures with rich histories, clashing. And it was through Purpose Earth that I was able to really find a group that allowed me to give back. So I graduated from college not too long ago, just about 3 years. And as I walked down this path of adulthood, I quickly realized that not only is finding your purpose difficult, but being able to align with your purpose, nearly impossible. So I'm very, very grateful for the Purpose Earth team, not just bringing me on and embracing my passion and giving me a place to really have a voice and make a difference in the world. But I'm truly grateful for them for inspiring me, for showing me that there are different ways of living out there, that it's not just the corporate rat race we're all racing to. No, there are people who care about the world and care deeply. And I see this every day, every week, every Thursday meeting that we all show up. And I hope that we grow, and I hope that our passion spreads, because now's the time where it's spreading like wildfire. So I am very grateful and very, very passionate about Purpose Earth, making this world a better place. And I'm here to do everything in my power to keep that going.
Thank you, Lily, and indeed you are. It's just a joy and a pleasure to have your energy and enthusiasm amongst our team and pushing us all forward. So the team at Purpose Earth, which as Lauren said, was formed when the Global Purpose Movement merged with Unity Earth. The team is made of our production team, which Rhiannon and Lawrence and Lily are all a part of. And we also have a grant selection council. The council's job is to review the many grant applications we receive, sort through them, make the decisions on who should receive a grant, how much, and then to help administer and mentor those grants. So it's a big job that the Grants Selection Council has at Purpose Earth. We have Laura Rose is a member, Kevin Shatiri, a doctoral student from Kenya, is also on our council, and certainly our next member, and Peter Blaise Corcoran, Professor Emeritus of Environmental Studies, just a lovely human being who's really taken the lead and helped us move forward with all of our applications. Just so grateful to Peter Blaise and Kevin and Laura. And then, of course, the other member of our grant selection council, Dr. Marty K. Casey, who represents the purpose and the passion of Purpose Earth better than anyone I know. Just such a beautiful, heartfelt human being. Dr. Marty, you want to share just a little bit of your passion, not too much right now, because you've got so much. Don't give it all to us at once. I don't know if I can handle it, but Dr. Marty Casey, go ahead.
I know how to take a hint, Emmanuel. That means keep it short, Marty.
No, that's
all
not true. No, we want it full blast, Dr. Marty. Give it to us all.
You're so awesome and amazing. First of all, thank you. It's such an I can't even put into words how amazing it is to be here amongst everyone today, following behind all of you all. I'm telling you, I really don't have anything to say other than kudos. And yes, I agree. The purpose in which we have been given this grand opportunity to be a part of Purpose Earth is it's how can you really form the words? But let me just tell you what Purpose Earth has done for me. Purpose Earth has given me a larger platform to be heard and to help and to create. And when you think about the meaning of purpose, that's exactly what it means. It means for something to be done and to be created on a larger scale. And that is what Purpose Earth has given to all of us. And then connect that with others all around the world where we receive their grants, their opportunity to apply for a grant. And we're reading about what they're doing and all of this magnificent stuff that they're creating all around the world, places that I just have dreamt about going or maybe haven't even heard of. And it feels like I have an opportunity to go around the world within seconds of just having that that moment to read the hearts of others that's doing very similar work like ourselves. So that is so awesome and amazing within itself. And one of the things that I know is that when we create, it moves us into action. That's where the action happens, when you get an opportunity to create. And that allows you to be intentional about your purpose. So many times I've held a position. That's just a simple job, right? We've all held positions, and probably some positions we didn't even like. We moved away from that because it didn't really fit us and what we felt we had to offer to the world. And then I moved into a place of passion where maybe I started off singing at the age of 19, and then I started acting by the time I was 25. And that was great because it allowed me to kind of tap into my talents, but it satisfied me. But I can't say that I was really tapping into my purpose. My purpose and our purpose is when we are passionate about the positions we have been given, and that it's not to benefit us, but it allows us to give back to the world. And that is why we all must come together and really be operating in purpose right now. That's how we're able to save the earth, to save the trees and the bees and the butterflies and the water and the people, is when we don't do what we do for self, but we do it for others. And that is what Purpose Earth has taught me how to do, when to do it, and what to do. And I am so very grateful. I hope this has been short enough. And I thank you, Emmanuel, and everyone for allowing me to speak.
Thank you, Dr. Marty. And we'll get back to you soon for more of the passion in your heart, which is just so contagious. Thank you for joining us here today. And I should also mention, along with our production team and our council, there are a few production team members who are not with us today. We couldn't have everyone on the screen at once, but we also want to recognize and certainly deeply grateful for our other team members at Purpose Earth. Sarvan Cully, she is the operations director for Purpose Earth. Jill Robinson, she is our content editor and just writes up everything we're trying to say. And Vanessa Palmer, who handles our branding and the beautiful design of Purpose Earth logo and websites and all that. So Sarvan, Vanessa, and Jill, we miss you on screen today. You're always with us in our hearts as part of the Purpose Earth production team as well. So yes, here we go. And as I said at the beginning, the world's full of passion. Passion's what makes our hearts come alive and do the things we do. But what are we passionate about? You know, that's the first issue. Are we too passionate about some things and perhaps not passionate enough about others? It seems like everyday circumstances also often get us very worked up, and perhaps rightly so. Love affairs, politics, trauma, all kinds of things stir up our restless souls. What is it, as it was said earlier, what is it that makes you cry? What is it that makes you come alive? And certainly there are many issues in the world to get passionate about. But the most important issue of all is the meaning and purpose in all of our individual lives. If we're not in touch with our inner purpose, the reason our soul was born into this life at this, the most critical singular moment in all of human history, if we're not alive to the meaning and purpose of why we're here now and what we can contribute to this critical situation, then we're missing out on being alive, on crying, on loving. We're missing the very purpose of human life. Because sometimes our passions are too grand or misguided, and sometimes we just don't want to face up to it, and we suppress that passion. So I'd like to open this discussion now to all of you to contribute thoughts. What moves your heart? What inflames the passion in your soul to work with Purpose Earth and to do all the great works you're doing outside of Purpose Earth and of being the purpose and the person that you are? What lights your passion? And are you feeling like this is a way to convert that passion into purposeful action? Are you doing your part at this time in history? Let's hear some passionate thoughts. Rhiannon, I see you're got your hand up. Go ahead, please. You're muted, Rhiannon.
Rhiannon, you're
Sorry
muted.
about that. Thank you. Yeah, I just fairly quickly, I just wanted to respond to a couple of things you said that are so poignant and so spot on. I actually feel very, very privileged and lucky, fortunate that I found my purpose and passion in life very young. You mentioned that I became a music director when I was 21. I actually started to find my purpose, I feel, when I was about 15. I moved to Southern California and I saw the most incredible divisiveness in these extremist movements I was surrounded by, at the same time as seeing these growing, incredible consciousness and unity movements unfolding that we are all part of now. So, one of the most incredible, powerful things, of course, when you find that thing, that spark that sets your heart on fire and allows you to live and have a channel. For me, that channel was music, it was journalism, it was speaking out, it was standing up. We're in a time now where people are actually lifting up and listening to our young people like never before. And we have to bring together all generations. We have to speak across generations, across disciplines, and work together because everyone has a different perspective and a different part of this unified story. So right now we're working to tell a new story for humanity. And I feel very lucky I got to connect with that very young. But if you don't get to connect with that, then there are so many people that have this incredible passion, but they don't have a channel, an outlet for it. And you see incredibly passionate people doing incredibly terrible things. And I believe in the potential of every human being. Every human being is worthy of love. Hurt people, as Marty says, hurt people, hurt people. We all have great trauma we're working through. I Personally, I was part of 2 of those accidents that Jim mentioned earlier. So I'm working to heal, and part of my healing is having this channel, this outlet, this platform that Marty mentioned, where I can speak about what I'm most passionate about and take action on these things that help to bring us all together. So Purpose Earth helps us to give that channel and platform to more people around the globe. And that helps us to tell a new story for humanity that weaves all of our stories together.
Indeed, it does. Thank you, Rhiannon. Laura, would you like to add a few thoughts to the discussion?
That was beautiful, Rhiannon. Thank you for sharing that. Unlike you, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I was so concerned about not having finances in my 20s that I tried a lot of things that honestly, I did them because I thought that I needed to pay the rent. And none of them gave me satisfaction. And I discovered cultural exchange in my late 20s by sort of a serendipitous chance. And suddenly I was in the world of bringing people from different nations together and helping cultures to understand one another, and facilitating the experience of international participants who were meeting American families and whose lives were extraordinarily changed by coming together as one. And I think what astounded me more than anything is that so many American families that were receiving participants were thinking that they were providing an opportunity to a young person to sort of give them values and teach them the American way. And what was so beautiful to me is how many of those families were changed for a lifetime because they were influenced by a young person who came from Kazakhstan or lived with them for a year from Africa or from South America. And it was a mutual exchange of understanding, of blessings, of having the opportunity to really see into each other's souls and to understand, as somebody just posted in a message, that when you ask how to help the other, maybe it's to recognize that there isn't the other and that we're all part of the same unified global experience of oneness. And just briefly, I want to share just one of the miraculous, extraordinary stories of our participants, our grant recipients, who is a young woman named Nazarene Shea, who didn't have a last name when she was born, didn't have a birth certificate, didn't know how old she was, ended up working in a factory making clothes when she was 12 out of desperation outside of Nepal, or outside of Kathmandu in Nepal. And this little girl spent 3 years in a room that was 10 by 10 with clothes. We're living with 7 other people with piles of clothes thrown into the room every single day, and being told that she would get a meal at the end of the day if she could finish sewing. And she cried tears that fell on the clothes that she was making and prayed that those tears would eventually be felt by the people wearing those clothes in the Western world, and that they would feel her pain and that they would understand the suffering that people go through for fast fashion. And through extraordinary luck and through being an extraordinary human being, she escaped. She met a spiritual healer, an American, who discovered her and gave her the opportunity to get an education, who gave her a last name, who got her a birth certificate, who taught her English, who taught her to read. And she ended up being one of our earliest recipients, and is somebody who is now dedicated to feeding the Nepalese people and to training young women and girls in Nepal to have a trade through sewing, and is one of the most extraordinary individuals that you can possibly imagine. And she would be with us today, but she's currently in a rural village in Nepal doing her beautiful work. And she's only one of the remarkable stories of people who have received our Purpose Earth grants. So is a reminder of how we can bring the world together when we stop thinking about our individual concerns and put ourselves forward to be of service to others.
Thank you, Laura. Beautifully said. And I think this is an appropriate moment to recognize that most of us here today, listening to this, participating, we wear the clothes of privilege. Yeah, we may have had to struggle a little bit when we were younger to make ends meet, and maybe part of our purpose at an early age was just mere survival needs, but really very little compared to what billions of people living in poverty or with lack of education or essential services, healthy food, water, shelter, billions of human beings around the planet, maybe 1/3 of us, don't even have the bare necessities of life. So it's a lot to ask of everyone to find that deeper, passionate purpose. We understand that. And we make a call to everyone in their own way at their own time to find that passion and convert it into purposeful action as circumstances allow. And part of Purpose Earth, of course, is to help those in need, to fund grassroots organizations and make this world a better place from the grassroots up. Dr. Marty, you've had plenty of experience in these areas of endeavor. You'd like to share a few thoughts with us on the subject?
Sure, absolutely. I wanted to come on to say that sometimes purpose is birthed from trauma and poverty. And I happen to be one of those individuals who that's my story, that's my experience. But when I look at where it all began for me, maybe by the age of 5, 6, and 7, for sure, I know that I started to create from that world of theater, of creating skits to survive and to play out these stories in my mind to show me that there is another way on the other side. And when I look at who I have become, a professional actress, and then I've coined a word that best describes me today. I'm an activist. I'm a professional actress and activist. So from that trauma and that pain is where my purpose really was developing. So I could sing a sad song and tell a sad story of what I had gone through, and I could hold on to that, or I can make a choice and I can activate what I've been through and create something better that allows me to show up to be better. And that's one of the things that I share all the time. If you've given an I or you're given an E, always choose that E. Put that E inside of better, not bitter. You don't want to be bitter. You want to be better about your circumstances. So I always choose that E so that I can be a better person. And I want to offer that to everyone that is listening today. We all have a story to tell. We all have been through something, and on a scale, you may be on one end of the scale and someone else may be on the other end, but we're all on that scale. We all have gone through something at some point in time in our life. And this is not about comparison. It's definitely not about judgment. But what we have to do, we have to learn to embrace who we are, what we've been through, and figure out what can we create to be a better person. And that is how I was able to tap into my purpose. I knew that I was, the things that I've been through did not define who I was.
How right you are. Yes, indeed. What defines who you are is that song in your heart and your ability to sing it out under the most adverse circumstances in life. Thank you, Dr. Marty. And yeah, Lily, I see your hand up, and I know you and your family, your background in the Middle East have gone through some adverse circumstances over time too. Would you like to share some thoughts?
Yes, more than happy to. Okay, here we go. So as I mentioned earlier, purpose for me was finding what makes you cry, right? What makes your heart ache. And being from Lebanon, seeing the division, it broke my heart from the moment I could understand why. Why are we fighting? What's even going on? Why are we leaving? I didn't ever really understand. But through Purpose Earth, I was able to take that passion and put it to use. I was connected to one of our fantastic grant recipients. They're called the Ghazala Collective. I am their mentor. Through the collective, I've been able to meet Ilan, who leads it, and Yael, who runs the operations on the ground, and all of these incredible women from the Bedouin community that they work with. The Ghazala Collective is located in Israel/Palestine, and their mission is to foster a community of cultural collaboration. So the Bedouin women who are Muslim and farmers and herders and weavers work with Yael, who is Jewish, and a few other women to dye yarn, and they co-create, they literally weave these incredible tapestries and prayer rugs and carpets and pillows. They come together and they create these works of art. And it's just such a beautiful, inspiring, and powerful mission. One of the key principles is paying fourth world citizens first world wages. So all of the women that we help, we compensate properly and educate them and get their daughters involved. It's really a community effort. And just every time I think about it or I speak about it, it makes my heart beat a little faster. It gets my blood pumping because there is a place in the world that is doing good. There is unity happening, and we're not going to hear about it on the news. It's hard to come across on social media, but it's happening because of Purpose Earth, or at least we're helping contribute a small part of it. So that really gets my passion going. Cultural collaboration is one of the 3 pillars of Purpose Earth. I'm sure if you've heard of Purpose Earth, you've heard us all talk about it, but it's cultural collaboration, society activation, and environmental restoration. And we have a whole host of incredible projects that accomplish 1, 2, or all 3 pillars. I'll drop a link into the chat if you guys want to check it out.
Thank you, Lily. Yes, indeed. Cultural collaboration, community activation, and environmental restoration are the pillars of the stool upon which Purpose Earth sits and carries us forward. Lawrence, would you like to add a few thoughts on the passion in your heart and converting that into purposeful action?
You're muted, Lawrence.
Yeah, sure. As I tell people, I'm really excited now. The last 2 years have really got me excited, and if I'm excited, something's happening. And what's happening is that there's an opportunity for change. This is we're in really the place to make things happen. And there's the community we have, and the community it's I think it's far and wide. And we want to bring this out and as we gain unity and power, we bring this out into the world, and that's what's really exciting. But the mentorship program is wonderful, as Laura said. I mean, it's such an honor for me to mentor an empowerment project in Botswana and work with Native American projects here in the United States. It's wonderful. There's a lot of energy for change around the world. A lot of people want changes. There's new opportunities for collaboration that we haven't used before. It's a very exciting time, and that coincides with my passion. So I have to say, over the last 2 years, I've gained passion, if that's it, and a lot of passion. So it's exciting. It's an exciting time because we can really make a difference.
So glad to hear your passion is growing, Lawrence. I think that's certainly one of the tasks we'd like to undertake, is do something, say something, urge you all on so that passion in your heart grows, and you can come alive and do ever more so into the future. So at Purpose Earth, we're helping fund grassroots organizations who really want to make a difference in these 3 areas of activity that we've discussed here. You can find out more, of course, on Purpose Earth at purposeearth.org and make a donation there, where 100% of your donation will go directly to grant recipients such as Nazreen Sheikh, who couldn't be with us here today because she's out there doing the good work in the field in rural Nepal. So yes, what brings us alive? What makes that passion grow? And what gives us the wisdom to convert passion into purposeful action? What do we tap into when we've gone through trauma, when life has given us one more blow, one more discouraging moment? What picks us up and moves us forward? What ignites the spark of passion into purposeful action? I'd like to just kind of reflect on this and have our group comment on the inner nature of their inspiration. What brought you here today? And everyone out there watching and listening, why are you here? And what are you going to do about it tomorrow? What drives your passion today? What's the source? And then in the future, what would you like your grandchildren, decades from now, to say about you, to think about what was done in these critical moments? Where were you when the great transition hit humanity? Were you at home, sitting on your sofa, lamenting your plight and your lack of passion? Or were you out on the front lines with locked arms, moving forward in the greatest activist movement of all times that we sometimes refer to as the Holo Movement? All of humanity coming together towards wholeness. Dr. Marty, would you like to make some comments on that? Go ahead.
I most certainly would, because you're really speaking to the blueprint of how I have gotten here, or why it was necessary for me to show up here. When, again, I was younger and I experienced that trauma, it was music that saved my life. Simple as that. I was in high school, got an opportunity to sing a solo in front of all of my friends and everyone. And when they stood to their feet and they clapped, in that very moment, and I want to stress that, in that moment, I realized that I had value. And I think that that's important for people to tap into what makes them move, what brings value to them, what validates them in some sort of way. But now, I didn't say it made me a good singer. I didn't say that I was going to be the next Whitney Houston. But in that moment, I felt like I had some sort of value to offer. So I held on to that, and I continued to develop that craft. Well, when Ferguson happened, and these children in their own backyard, I recognized that they were just dealing with some of the most ultimate trauma that anyone could ever imagine. I felt their energy. I felt and I saw myself in those children. The very thing that I needed that saved my life in a moment of coming out of trauma was music. So I bottled that up so that I could go offer that to this group of children. So to your question, Emmanuel, what can we do, or what sparks us? You simply have to close your eyes and take yourself on the inside of you and remember what it was for you. What did you do that sparked you into your purpose? Bottle that up and now offer that to someone else. That's the medicine that others need. And we have no right to hold on to it. That's what purpose is all about. Purpose is the bottle that's holding the medicine. And when we go and deliver that medicine to someone, we are now operating in our purpose. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Marty. And some medicine actually tastes good too. It's not all that horrible, bitter tasting stuff. Sometimes it just fills you with love and energy and goodwill to carry forward. So who else would like to chime in here on some thoughts of inspiration? Laura, go ahead.
So some of my thoughts of inspiration right now are that, can you hear me? Yeah, okay. I have just been thinking about the next round of Purpose Earth Grant recipients who we will be introducing to this community and to the community at large on April 12th. And I won't reveal any names today because that's a special thing, but I just want to let you know that in the spark of purpose, sometimes it begins with supporting a cause that you truly believe in. And some of the things that the council members have had the privilege to review, some of the projects are extraordinary. And I just want to mention a couple. One of them is a project in Africa that will be providing a well and clean drinking water to 3 villages, 5,000 people, 3,000 cattle, and providing enough water for children to be able to go to school and learn and not experience thirst. So this will be one of the things that we will be funding in our next round of grant recipients. And another one is this extraordinary, beautiful young woman who lives in the Caribbean and was raised in dire poverty. She's only 22 years old. Her younger sister, who's 19, has 3 children already that this young woman is supporting. And she was blessed with an education through some foundations there. And Purpose Earth will be funding a school for children who are from 1 to 6 years old, who will be taken off the streets and given an education and provided with meals, snacks. They won't be running in the streets while their parents are at work. And these are some of the things that can pull at our heartstrings and provide us with an opportunity to feel that passion. So as Emmanuel mentioned, if you would like to support some of these projects, you can go to purposeearth.org to donate. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura. And thank you, team. Some other closing thoughts. We want to bring Jim back into the discussion here, but Lily, any thoughts on the source and future vision of your inspiration?
Ooh, that's a tough one. You asked so many really great questions, Emmanuel. I wish I had my journal so I can write them down to really dig into it later. But probably for me, what inspires purpose, other than, you know, as I keep saying, what breaks your heart, I think it's really what excites you. It's where can you see change in the world? Like, what are the pain points? Where are we breaking? Because as you guys all know, we built the society forever ago. You know, America is 200 years old. Our Constitution was written in the 1760s, Lawrence. I don't even, but we're marching into a new world with the technology we have available, with the ideas that are really taking root. I really think this is a time for change. And Emmanuel, where that question gave me goosebumps. Where were you? Where were you when the great transformation happened? What are we going to tell our grandkids, our great grandkids? What society are we building for them? What legacy are we leaving? And when I, you know, look around the world, I'm so disenchanted by just the regular corporate capital, you know, we can make it better. I have full faith in us. And it starts with an idea. It starts with the grassroots movement, and it starts with leaders. like everyone on this call, everyone in this chat, everyone who shares this to their feed. So start to spread the word. That's where the purpose starts. We'll all plant our seeds, water it with passion, and in a few years, few lifetimes, we'll create a new world. So that's really what excites me about it.
Thank you, Lily. Yes, we're on the road to a new world, hand in hand, marching forward into the future. Lawrence, some concluding thoughts on this part of the discussion from you on inspiration and future vision? You're muted, Lawrence.
I think my inspiration comes from spirit. And there's how I live my life and what I've done and the things that have happened. There's no way I could be here without being guided. So that's, and to understand that, and I think we can all say that, because we all came here from, through different paths and different ways. And we're together here really as one. I mean, certainly the Purpose Earth team and all the people that I've met here. And as I say, sometimes we have to trust, we have to trust the process, because the energy field is there for us.
It sure is. We're all basking in a field of energy. And as we know, this physical world of which we give so much importance to is really only an end manifestation of that spirit in our hearts that drives us forward to tap into our purpose, to find the music in our souls, to tell a new story.
Yeah, that gives us the opportunity for change. Exactly.
It sure does. Yeah. And Rhiannon, how are you basking in that field? How's it sit with you today?
I am just immensely grateful and so deeply inspired, reflecting back as Marty shared, for me as well, very young, I found the power that culture and arts, cross-cultural collaboration, and an incredible global dance movement had to help heal part of my trauma and bring people together across such great divides and help people to see our common humanity. So I want to really deeply thank you, Emmanuel and Laura, and everyone here for your dedication to the arts and weaving arts so deeply throughout all of our programs and throughout Purpose Earth's mission, and to my grandchildren and to the next generation, I really want to say thank you to all who are rising up and speaking out and acting with such passion and compassion. Someone in the chat said earlier, not everyone has found this purpose yet, but living our passion, living with compassion, living with the spirit of unity, with love in our hearts, that is such a powerful purpose in this world as well. And that is the place from which I am giving to Purpose Earth and to humanity. And that gives back to me every time I experience the opportunity to weave and co-create and collaborate and work with these incredible people. So, I invite people to look for those things, those people that make you feel uplifted, and ask what you want to do to change the world. And sometimes what we're doing to change the world is in the way that we are being and living with each other. And every person has a unique voice. No one else in the world has the voice and the purpose that you do. And finally, I want to remind people, no matter who we are around the world and what we're struggling with, we can all dance. We can all dance together. So don't forget to dance, because it brings us together and it helps get us through incredibly hard times. And it keeps us limber for the next phase of our evolution, which will never stop. We will always keep evolving together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Rhiannon. And I think we'd all love to follow you as our Pied Piper is to dancing and singing into a glorified future. And certainly that's what we're here to do as we all come together and dance and sing around the circle of wholeness towards what we call the Holo Movement. And speaking of the Holo Movement, just like to announce we're really pleased that the Holo Movement, which is the philosophy behind Purpose Earth of wholeness, unity, and working together for a better world, we've just proposed a new book, an anthology from different thinkers on the Holo Movement called The Holo Movement, A New Way of Being to Unite Humanity. And we have an initial agreement with Light on Light Press, and Sacred Stories to publish this Holo Movement volume. So we're excited about that, and Purpose Earth and the proceeds from that will sponsor our work with the Holo Movement. So Jim Garrison, speaking of Holo Movements and diving into the future and allowing humanity to rise up and take its purposeful place, like to circle back to you with our deep, deep gratitude for having us here today on Humanity Rising and featuring our work, and love to hear back from you and your thoughts on this discussion. Jim?
Thank you, Emmanuel and Laura, and all of you. This has been a very powerful, inspirational session. You know, sometimes when we speak of these large subjects like purpose, it's sort of like defining love or hope or faith. Language doesn't always get at the core of what we're seeking to express. And so I've been watching more the body movement and the enthusiasm of the heart that's been radiating out from all of you, because sometimes the way that can be spoken is not the true way. And I have a feeling that what you're trying to bring in the world is really something that needs to be embodied. And, you know, it's in that spirit. I would love to hear more about the projects. You mentioned one in Israel and Palestine, but I know there's several dozen projects that you've been supporting. I think people would be very interested in just hearing, you know, 3 or 4, or whatever the top most successful projects are, just to give people a sense of how your purpose is really being activated on the ground in different places around the world.
That's thank you, Jim. Yeah, we'd love to hear more about some projects. So let's take 2 or 3. Laura, you want to pop off a project and then we'll move right on to a couple others?
Sure. Jim, thank you for that question. There are so many beautiful projects, and it's hard to know where to begin, but I will start with one that is called She is the Universe. And Lily mentioned it a few minutes ago when she was talking about Laura Peña, who is the founder of this project. And Laura is based in the Dominican Republic. And she's a journalist, a graphic artist, a storyteller, an extraordinary, brilliant woman who honors her Latina roots and is a deep believer in empowering young girls to become leaders as women. And she has a global platform that she's formed with Sarah Surani, a lovely woman of Pakistani descent. And I now have the honor to be on the board of this group and have gotten to know them well. This is a global platform that brings young girls, most of them from 12 to 14 years, together, and they connect on a monthly basis. They are empowered to lead their own groups. They choose the topics that inspire them, everything from leadership skills to mental health to environmental concerns. I joined a group last week and was absolutely spellbound by the capacity of these young women to share from the heart, to be able to express their deepest concerns, their fears, to express with love, to be able to feel, to be in a forum where they can be heard, and then to become leaders as individuals through training programs, some of which Purpose Earth has helped to provide the funding for. And as a result of it, I think that the thing that has stood out to me the most is that all of these young girls have said they need one thing, one thing. There's a beautiful video that I wish I could show today, but I don't have it prepared for you. But it's asking girls in languages around the planet, what is one thing that you need to come fully to yourself and to yourself and to be the person and the leader that you need? And all of them in their various languages said the same thing: support, apoyo. I need to be understood. I need to have the capacity to believe that others believe in me so that I can take all of this passion that I hold in my heart and to bring it forth into the world. So that global platform is just one of our many projects. And I'll let somebody else share one of the other ones.
Yes, who else are we giving support and apoyo to? Would like to, I know you've all got favorite projects. Dr. Marty, I see you're unmuted and ready to roll. Tell us some more.
I'm sure I can jump in real quick. I would love to highlight Festival of a Child, which the founder is Priya Matani, and she is amazing. And what I love about her project is that anyone can join this project from around the world, because it is actually an online based project out of England. And so we're just so excited to have Priya. And I'm going to read this here. If you go to our website, which we definitely would like for all of you all to please go and visit purposeearth.org, and you can find out even more than what we are actually sharing with you in this moment. But here, the project story, Festival of a Child, is an immersed experiential adventure and online education summit for a global community of courageous, creative and curious parents and educators. And I love that. Think about that. That's community. That's what it's all about. So that's almost like building the village back up. And she's using these resources, this creativity, the arts. It's vibrant, it's fun, and it's a way to stay connected with any child from around the world. So please go and learn more about Festival of a Child by visiting purposeearth.org.
And one more project, Rhiannon, would you like to share something?
I would love to tell everyone quickly about Mona Dance School. And it's just an incredible project in Nigeria that is headed up by an amazing woman named Ilo Etomi. It's been such an honor to mentor them with Lawrence. And Mona Dance School's mission is to teach and build a dance program among all the ages with the sense of commitment to societal transformation, healthy lifestyle, and as an art form to promote education for sustainable development. One of the incredible things about Mona Dance School is they are using dance to teach the young people of Port Harcourt, Nigeria, to tell their own stories and to tell the stories of their village and to learn more and take more pride in the incredible history of their region. And what they're also doing is they are weaving the United Nations Sustainable Development Goals throughout their work at Mona Dance School. So this is an example of a group that's actually kind of using all three of our pillars simultaneously in order to create societal transformation with these amazing young people who they are instilling deep passion within, and they are doing it through dance and through the arts.
Just can't get enough of that dancing theme. So, song and dance leading the way. And back over to Jim, if you've got some other questions or comments.
It sounds like your projects are very specific and very grassroots and very local. And I think that's a demonstration of its power, because people in the end live in neighborhoods and need to be empowered, where they are. So I just want to commend you and commend everyone that wants to support and donate so that you can continue your work. There's an interesting question from Naomi Caligaro about, as you look at your experience with Purpose Earth, what has been your greatest challenge? And I would add, what has been your greatest success as you would just sort of consider the history of your philanthropy and your empowerment of all these groups? What have been your challenges and what have been your singular successes?
Well, who would like to comment on challenges and successes? Any of our illustrious panel here ready to raise a hand? And yes, Lawrence, thank you.
Yeah, I think our challenges is that we started from scratch, literally. When we first planned the launch program, when we just all met, some of us knew some of the production team knew each other. Rhiannon and I knew each other, but we never worked together. So it was really, for me, it was all new. And we had to produce a program in, 2 months. And we didn't know if anybody would even want to be on the program. And we moved forward and we produced really an amazing 3-hour program. We produced other programs. We've supported, sponsored World Unity Week, co-sponsored other events, including the Poetry Slam for Peace and Saturday Night Alive. So in the time that we've been, active, which is when we started the first day we became active. That was the real challenge. And to build something was, as Laura said, without a hierarchy, it's a different kind of relationship than I think many of us are used to. And it just evolved into something that we think is really special. And our singular success is that we're growing. We continue to grow and we continue to do more around the world.
Yes, we are. And I'll let Lily and then Marty a couple of comments on challenges or successes, and then we'll wrap it up and turn it back over to Jim. Lily?
Well said, Lawrence. Took the words right out of my mouth, except I'll add a little bit onto that. I would say probably one of our challenges as a team is time. There is so much to do, so much that we can do. And we're all so excited and passionate and so in love with the work that we do that it gets a little bit overwhelming at times. Our to-do list can be very, very long with so many grant recipients and so many mentorship opportunities. So that being said, one of the ways anybody watching right now could really help us out is donating and spreading the word. So we want this movement to spread. We want more people on our team supporting us in all the ways that they can. So that's one of the challenges that we are still trying to overcome and looking for support and adapting to it as best as we can.
Beautiful.
Thank you. And Dr. Marty, some final thoughts.
I just want to say that one of the challenges is the fact that we are human and we all have somewhat experienced over the year and a half, some type of health issue or possibly even, our scheduling and conflicts and different things like that. And you have to stop and say, okay, how do I continue to show up and do this work? That is exactly how we know we are operating in purpose, because passion will make you give an excuse sometimes. A position will say, you know what, I'll find another job later on. But when you're operating in purpose, somehow you push past those things that it look like it's a stumbling block and is standing in the way because you feel like you have to be here. This is what you've been called to do. And I just wanted to point that out, that we all have really been operating in our purpose and pushing in that area. And to Lily's point, the way that you can help us, a way that you can support us in showing up in spite of those things is by donating. Donating. You don't even have to show up. We'll show up. We'll do the work. We'll get it done. We'll find the people. We will put your money in a good place. And 100% of your donations, it goes to those individuals that the council are choosing. 100%, right? So the bottom line is, would you give today? Can you find it in your heart to give so that we can emotionally and physically still show up to do the work? Because we're all in this together. So thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Marty. And we are all in it together, and we're in it together here with Humanity Rising. And back to Jim Garrison.
Thank you. You might just put the link for donations in the chat as we wrap up. I just want to make two comments. One to your point, Lawrence. This is the entrepreneur, the challenges and the vicissitudes of the entrepreneur, taking a dream that's residing in the invisible realms and connecting it with your heart and your intelligence and beginning that laborious process of manifesting it in the real world. And as you said, Marty, one of the biggest challenges is that you discover is we're all very, very human. And because we're very, very human, we're subject to Murphy's Law, that anything that can go wrong does go wrong. And nevertheless, we persevere. And the challenges that we face in many ways are a measure of our purpose, a measure of our commitment. And only the most committed, oftentimes make it to the finish line, because bringing goodness into the world for some very strange reason is a challenge. Probably more so now as the darkness becomes so intense in different quadrants around the world. And I think the second comment is that, it's a strange paradox that it's actually in the effort to overcome obstacles in the face of the obvious that we're trying to help people. There's some ironical, paradoxical function of being that the more obvious something is, the more obstacles there seem to be to its manifestation. And so that brings into the equation suffering. And that brings into the equation the shadow content of the world. And so I wanted to bring that in, because when we think about Purpose Earth, when we think about Humanity Rising, we think about doing goodness in the world. Somehow the activation of the light also activates darkness. And whether it's Israel, Palestine, whether it's in some corner of the third world, there's always deep challenges that have to be worked through every step of the way. And so it's in that spirit that I really want to acknowledge your courage and your heroism and your deep commitment to the good, because it's a challenge that's fraught with all kinds of impediments. And the purpose that we have to bring to it has to be equal to the challenges that we face. And you're doing it clearly in a very, very dynamic and successful way. So I just want to honor that as we bring this session to a close. And then we're going to do something very special, everyone, as we close this panel, having talked about music and dance and song. Turns out that Rhiannon and Marty are both gifted singers. So we're going to welcome everyone, first of all, to our after chat session. You'll see the link in the chat box, and everyone's welcome to join for a more informal session where everyone can see one another. We'll be back same time, same station tomorrow with another program on Humanity Rising. And so I want to just now bring us to a close and turn it over to Rhiannon and Marty for a final musical benediction on our session today. Rhiannon.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you so much for having us all here. Thank you for all that you do and all that you are in the world. I really could not be more deeply grateful. We are all so grateful, and it's just so lovely to feel so connected to you in my heart. Knowing you, even meeting you for the first time today, I feel so connected to you right now, and it's a beautiful, beautiful feeling. And I just want to, share a really short and sweet song with everyone and invite everyone, to drop into your heart space and take this moment to just really feel our presence with each other. And while we are so grateful for everyone who will become part of the Purpose Earth family and donate and activate your purpose, just take a moment to feel like there is nothing else that you need to do right now in this moment, nothing you need to change about yourself. You are beautiful. You are so loved. You are so special. You are so important. And we love you dearly. And that is the spirit from which I'd like to sing this song, and just a really short little prayer to drop us all in together into this beautiful moment of being connected together as human beings. I pray you'll be our eyes and watch us where we go, and help us to be wise in times when we don't know. Let this be our prayer as we go our way. Lead us to a place we will be safe in our grace. Thank you.
Wow.
Wish we could sing together.
I know. Well, it's so funny trying to sing in a choir form on here, but I'm telling you, you don't need any help. What a beautiful angelic voice. Thank you so much, Rhiannon, for sharing that with the world. And I'm just going to be real brief. And I would like to ask all of you all to just extend your hands as if you're holding the person's hand next to you in the screen or in your room, wherever you are, as if you're holding their hand. And I'm going to just switch it up a little bit and say, we got the whole world in our hands. 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 Now it's in your hands. Come on and join us. Continue to link and connect, and be sure to visit purposeearth.org and continue to hold our hands. Bye-bye.
Thank you, everyone. That brings our session to a close. Wonderful inspiration for the heart and soul. See you tomorrow, everyone. Bye for now.